to Can of Worms, the show that's not afraid of a good old-fashioned cage rattling. Tonight, we'll pop the cork on teenage drinking and wonder out loud just how much honesty is too much honesty in a relationship. To wrestle these subjects to the ground and charge through our moral minefield, three very different Australians. First off, the most famous comedian to ever come out of Alice Springs. A mother of five, an occasional foster mum, she has, much like another special someone currently reading this auto cue, faced her fair share of battles with a demon drink. Please welcome Fiona O'Loughlin. In the middle is the 25-year-old co-host of Astereo's Hot 30 Countdown. She describes herself as upfront, goofy, sassy, a video game addict and single. We describe her as Maud Garrett. Third guest is a twice-married grandfather set to turn 70 this year. He ran the Carlton Footy Club, one of the world's largest breweries, and was once touted as a possible Prime Minister. Give a warm round of applause to John Elliott. And finally, my glowing co-host, who shall be bringing us all of our fantastic Roy Morgan National polls, Michelle Laurie.
Thank you, Dicko. Thank you very much. God, hasn't the country gone absolutely berserk for Don Burke?
It was Burkamania, wasn't it?
It was Burkamania. Don Burke has just, like a phoenix from the ashes. The entire nation is in love with Don. People who were too young to see Burke's backyard are in love with Don. People who saw it and thought it was a bit naff are now in love with Don. Let's have a bit of a look at it now.
I love nothing better than a good fuck. Fuck? Fucking oh, fucking great. Fuck you. I think you're fucking great.
I know. So there's Facebook pages now dedicated to Don. Some of them suggesting, John, that he should be our Prime Minister.
Don't be so ridiculous.
Follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. We are Can of Worms TV on both, John. And just pay attention to the hashtags on the bottom of the screen if you want to talk to us on Twitter.
Time to crack open tonight's first refreshing Can of Worms. Almost 10 years ago to the day, I was packing up my English house and preparing to move my family to Australia. Now, I remember being so excited to be moving to a country with such a vibrant drinking culture. Little did I know, 6 years later, I'd be a raging alcoholic, downing at least 5 bottles of wine a day and struggling to keep my life together. Now, I don't blame Australia for my failings as a man, but this country does have a very odd love-hate relationship with the grog, especially when it comes to young Aussies and their drinking habits. It leads us to our first big worm of the night. Strong views and honest opinions are what we're after. Sitting on the fence is forbidden. Start with a yes-no to this, our first worm of the night. Should you allow your 17-year-old to drink alcohol? Yes or no? You got 5 seconds. So we got 2 no's and a yes. Now, Fiona, when did you first taste alcohol?
I didn't drink till I was 18, probably even closer to 19. I took to it like a duck to water when I did, but I actually didn't really have a problem with drinking until about 6 years ago.
John, what do you remember of your parents drinking?
Well, neither of my parents drank at all until my father retired at the age of 62. Then he got, enjoyed the wine, he'd have a sherry and things. So I didn't have a drink till I'd gone through university, till I was 21 years of age.
21 when you had your first drink?
I made up for it since. I've got to run a brewery or two.
Maud, tell me about the first time you got blind drunk.
Year 10 in high school. Every weekend, everyone would just have parties and you'd go there and you would binge drink.
How drunk did you get?
Whew. Well, that's the catch. I was only allowed a 4-pack of alcohol and that was it.
By who?
My dad bought it for me.
Your dad, at what age?
16, 17.
Your dad bought you a 4-pack at 16?
That's all I was allowed, though. And my mum totally disagreed with it. But my dad and I had a really good rule with it. He goes, I will buy you 1 4-pack and that's it. But if you drink anything more than this, or if you binge drink and you, go over the top, I'll stop this and the privileges will be gone and you won't be able to go out.
Sounds like you didn't need the 4 to get drunk.
I only needed 3. I used to sell the 4th one.
Fiona, how much do you think drinking is an integral part of the Australian culture?
Yeah, definitely, it is. And I think your dad and you were lucky. You know, like, handing a kid the okay to drink under the age of 18, I reckon it's like handing a kid a stick of dynamite and a box of matches. I didn't know this until I had my own battle with the booze, that if you drink alcoholically for enough times, you know, it's like poking a bear, and kids are drinking alcoholically at this point.
What's alcoholically?
Like, it means setting out to get drunk,
right,
and doing it continually over and over again.
You've got 5 kids, yeah?
Yeah.
And a mixture of boys and girls?
Yeah.
So what were the rules in your house for your kids drinking?
It was just no, that you don't. I mean, they have done it. There's no doubt, but that's up to them.
Probably more than you know, though.
Yeah, but it is, you know, not so much more than I know. They went to boarding school, which freed me up from my own drinking. But and I know that they did have, you know, benders, but I think that is beside the point. It is up to me to say no.
John, how many kids have you raised?
I got 5.
And what were the rules in your house for drinking?
Well, until they left school, no alcohol. Basically, 18 was the standard. But I'm certain nearly all my kids had a drink before then, but they certainly didn't expose it to me or any of my wives.
Wouldn't you rather know, though? Wouldn't you rather be
Well, they didn't
aware?
get into any trouble.
Did you have a harem?
Well, you could say that.
Maud,
Yeah.
we know that teens are risk takers. Why would you add alcohol to that mix? Why add drinking to planking?
It's... Because why would you plank if you weren't pissed?
It's called yoga. The teenagers are going to do it anyway, whether you let them or not.
Can I just say, praise the Lord that planking came in after I gave up the piss. I'd be in a wheelchair here, eh?
Well, Maud,
Still planking.
Maud, what if I was to tell you, these are figures from the Australian Drug Foundation, 1 in 5 16-year-old Australians will be drinking at binge levels.
Yeah,
right?
no, I believe it.
Now, why would you support a stance that's going to push kids towards that?
I feel that if you don't say and have that rule, you know what, have these drinks and that's it, you're going to go out there and go, right, I need a drink and I need a drink now. Everyone else is drinking, I've got to be in it.
But isn't it about the effect rather than the number? So you were drinking until you were drunk. And I hope you don't mind my bringing this up, but a mutual friend of ours told me about an accident you had drinking.
I'm sitting on the wrong side of you.
I've got a 7 in my leg.
Hey, hands off, John, hands off. Yeah.
So was that, were you adhering to the rules, your dad's rules?
Well, no, that was actually, that was when I should have been much more responsible. I did this only 2.5 years ago. And, yeah, that was after a binge drinking episode. I fell through a glass table and I got 20 stitches in my leg.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, if that's not a wake-up call, God help me, and it has been.
John, how can we teach our kids to drink responsibly if we don't show them?
Yeah, well, I've got friends of mine who used to, when they sat down for dinner, they'd give their children of a younger age half a glass of wine with dinner.
What's wrong with that?
Now, I don't think there's a lot wrong with that, but I think the risks are too high. And I think, you know, what you've said is exactly right. The older you are before you start, the more responsible you can be.
I remember, I think it was my father-in-law, a very wise man, though, and he said to me, far too late for me, but he said, and it's true, drunkenness should only ever be the accidental consequence of conviviality.
That is
How
such a
charming.
good point. Yeah, that's a good, Otherwise...
Fiona, what about teenagers being teenagers, bloody-minded teenagers? If you impose a zero-tolerance policy with alcohol, isn't that just going to act as a red rag to a bull?
I think I must have been just very, very lucky. I've still got 2 to go. There's a 16 and 13-year-olds still to come. But so far, the older 3 I haven't really had those dramas. I think teenagers are getting, kids in general, are getting the worst deal of kids in the history of kids.
Why?
Because we don't shut up about how hard it is having them. Parenting is the hardest job in the world. bullshit. It is
Please.
not. It's a joy. You know, that's such an insult to people in hospital right now sitting next to their terminally ill kid. That's the hardest job in the world. If you've got healthy children and you're breathing in and out and life's good, shut the...
Say it.
Just shut up about how hard it is. And no wonder these kids are getting pissed.
Spoken
Well,
like
listen,
a
look,
foster mother.
yeah.
Spoken
Yeah.
like a foster mother. Yes.
Now, look, after the break, we'll reveal the results of our Roy Morgan National Poll. Plus, Can of Worms correspondent Dan Illick heads out to sell Aussie parents on the idea of a booze school for kids.
Do you let them drink at home?
Not at all.
You don't? Why not? You stupid Aussie.